This episode is sponsored by BetterHelp. October 10th is World Mental Health Day, and this year we're saying thank you, therapists. BetterHelp therapists have helped over 5 million people worldwide on their mental health journeys. That's millions of stories, millions of journeys, and behind every one is a therapist who showed up, listened, and helped someone take a step forward. Moments in therapy, like the right question, a safe space to cry, or a small win, can change lives. This World Mental Health Day, BetterHelp is honoring those connections and the therapists who make them possible, while showing how easy it is to get guidance from a licensed therapist online with BetterHelp. With over 30,000 therapists, BetterHelp is the world's largest online therapy platform, having served over 5 million people globally. And it works with an average rating of 4.9 out of 5 for a live session based on over 1.7 million client reviews. This World Mental Health Day, we're celebrating the therapists who've helped millions of people take a step forward. If you're ready to find the right therapist for you, BetterHelp can help you start that journey. Our listeners get 10% off their first month at betterhelp.com/PFF. That's betterhelp.com/PFF. All right, next up, another SEC game. Number 11 LSU beating South Carolina 20-10. The final score in this one. Let's go to LSU with their highest grade players, starting off with their star tight end. You'll talk about later, Dalton, and Trey Green, 83.8 grade for the freak athlete at tight end. Tamarcus Cooley, safety, 80.9. Mansour Delane, who's been a star all year for LSU. He's great in this one too, 78.8 grade. Wide receiver Kyle Parker, 76.8. Caden Durham, 75.6, the running back, and Garrett Nussmeier with a 71 grade at quarterback. South Carolina, meanwhile, their highest grade players, and they lost. Monkel Goodwine, the D tackle, 88.6. Dylan Stewart, 77.8, the edge rusher. Another D tackle here, Nick Barrett, 77. Safety Peyton Williams, 75.9. Vakari Swain, the corner, 67.9, and Lenoris Sellers with a 56 grade in the loss for South Carolina. Dalton, what told the story in this game?
What do you know, Max? LSU ran the football. They ran for 165 yards in this game. We're excluding sacks because we don't do that around here. I'm giving them the real rushing credit here. And look, was their offensive line fantastic in this game? No, it wasn't. It's not a great run-blocking unit. We already know that. Garrett Nussmeier got beat up, man. He got beat up in this game. He was battling. He was limping. He was hobbling, everything like that. But the fact that LSU, just a little, that's all I'm asking for, just a little bit of balance. It's not crazy. It's 165 yards. It's actually 5.5 yards to carry. That's pretty good. How about out of those 165, 143 after contact?
There you go.
That'll do. I mean, look, sometimes you got to just run the football and let these athletes be athletes, man. Caden Durham was really good. Juwan Johnson, outside of the fumble at the 1-yard line, he was solid on his handful of carries. Even Nussmeier scrambled a couple times, 3 scrambles for 32 yards. I think that's all I'm asking for. You know, because LSU, look, they've won low-scoring games. It's ugly. They're not great on the offensive line because they got 4 new starters this year. But when you can just hand the football off to Caden Durham, it reminds me a lot of last year's game against South Carolina. Who turned the momentum in this game, I thought? Caden Durham. Yep. I really believe that. When they had to seal the game, who got the big run to get him inside the 30? Caden Durham. Right? I think it's just they need a little. They're not going to be the best rushing team in the country, but this is all I'm asking. If they run for 165 yards every week, they're going to be so hard to beat because you know Nussmeier then doesn't have to drop back 60 times, and you know he's been relatively safe with the football this year, right? And you know it's been a struggle in the passing game with the pass protection, and there hasn't been a lot of variety. But
Aaron Anderson was also out yesterday.
And Aaron Anderson was out in this game. They had to grind this game. South Carolina's defense was really good in this game. They were outstanding in this game considering their offense was giving them nothing. They were giving them no sort of help outside of the one Matt Fuller touchdown. South Carolina's defense was really good in this game. LSU, they had to dig, man. They had to dig into their guts and heart and soul to find a way to get out of this one. Nussmeier again was hobbled. He was getting hit all night. But the fact that Caden Durham, Juwan Johnson gave them something on the ground. This is another one. If LSU would have gone out here and ran for 80 yards, I think they would have lost. They would have found a way to lose this game. I really believe that. But the fact that they could just have a little bit of balance in their offense, I think it was massive for them. And if they can continue that will continue to be big for them.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially with Aaron Anderson out, one of the top receivers. I mean, they definitely needed that run game to step up, and they did. Not for South Carolina, though. This is the same problem for South Carolina over and over again, and a great job by LSU of exploiting it. South Carolina, negative .286 EPA per pass. Dalton is the worst EPA per pass number for South Carolina since last year against LSU was the last time they had a lower number. So LSU's got Lenore Sellers' numbers, what I'm saying right now.
And that was a game
where he got hurt.
Where Robbie Ashford played the second half of the game. Yeah.
Correct. Gamecocks, only 124 yards through the air, 4.3 yards per attempt. Sellers, 50.6 passing grade. South Carolina, 48.1 receiving grade and a 43.8 pass blocking grade, 0 for 3 on deep throws too. They could not do anything offensively against a really, really good LSU defense, especially in that secondary. I'll talk about later on too. They have a loaded secondary in LSU and Baton Rouge right now. But I said in the preview, this supporting cast around Lenore Sellers is horrendous. They have nothing around him on offense right now, whether it be in the receiving core, the run game, or along the offensive line. It really is Sellers by himself on that offense right now. And this is why they're failing, is because they have nothing outside of a freak athlete at quarterback who maybe still could be a first-round pick in the NFL draft, but we really won't know because this South Carolina offense is just not setting up their star quarterback to succeed. And a great job by LSU. Their defense is simply too good, especially on the back end with those linebackers and those that secondary. That defense is too good to go up against a South Carolina offense that does not have really any threats outside of Sellers. Just a great job by LSU just completely shutting down South Carolina's overall offense in this game, but really their passing game.
Their only touchdown, the Matt Fuller touchdown, 72 yards, that was their only play all night, more than 20 yards.
Yep.
This team, if South Carolina's ideal situation. Now, they did run the football well in this game, 248 rushing yards. That's one thing that helps you a lot. They ran the football well. Finally, it was probably the best rushing day of the season. But they don't create explosive plays right now, and that's the problem, especially in the passing game. And look, LSU, this was the part of this matchup where LSU was going to give South Carolina problems. They just don't give up the deep ball. They don't do it. It's one of the best secondaries in the country. It's the biggest reason that LSU is 5-1 is their secondary and their improvement in coverage. They're an elite coverage unit. You're not just going to walk in and throw deep balls on this team. You're just not going to do it. Lenore Sellers completed, I believe, one pass over 10 air yards.
Yeah.
They will never win like that because Sellers is not precise and pinpoint enough underneath to work through that. In the same way we talk about DJ Lagway, it's the same thing. Sit back, contain him on the defensive line. If you have a Harold Perkins type spy, cool. A lot of teams don't have that. Contain him. Don't let him break outside the hash marks. Make him throw from the pocket and make him throw underneath. And they just don't have the ability at quarterback or receiver to do that. They can't.
And let's go to LSU for a second, because obviously Aaron Anderson out, so many people are wondering who's going to step up and be the top pass catcher for Garrett Nussmeier and Dalton. They have a freak of all freaks. We thought South Carolina had the freak athletes going into the year. They do, with Sellers, obviously, and Dylan Stewart, and Nick Harbor, too. But Trey'Dez Green is right up there with him, man. He might be the freakiest athlete we have at tight end in the entire country.
I mean, he plays really, he's tight end in name only. He lines up at receiver 2/3 of the time. He's 6'7", and every time I looked up at we had 6 games on different TVs going yesterday, and every time I looked up at the LSU game, it was just Trey'Dez Green going on somebody's head. 6'7", I don't know how you cover him. He's
such a fluid mover too.
I'm throwing a name out here. Dangerous, I know. I'm just throwing a bunch of dangerous.
Drew Brees comp earlier. What are you gonna do now, Gronk?
I was gonna say Kyle Pitts. It's the Kyle Pitts problem at Florida, where you go, he's so big and fast and freaky, where you go, how do we even? I mean, honestly, and there's times when it's like he's not open, but he is, because you just go. He just throw it, Nussmeier, just throw it up to him. To throw it at his forehead, and there's not a corner getting up there. I mean, 8 catches, 119 yards, and you mentioned it with Aaron Anderson out. Huge performance. He was their best player offensively in this game. 3 for 3 uncontested targets because, of course, he's 6'7". Yep. Also forced 2 missed tackles. He's just so darn big, and like you mentioned, he's a fluid mover. That's literally what Garrett Nussmeier is thinking. I'm sure that's what Joe Sloan is telling him. Is just, hey, this guy right here. Throw it 3 inches above his forehead. There's not a corner in the country. There's not, especially the way that they're lining him up on the outside 2/3 of the time. There's not a corner in the country that's getting up there.
Yep.
Just if you see him at all in a one-on-one, just throw it as high as he can reach, and there's just no. I mean, it's like watching just a power forward in basketball, just boxing out corners all night. It was unbelievable stuff from Trey'Dez Green. He's going to be a big part of this offense moving forward because I think they haven't found that guy who wins those one-on-ones this year consistently. Trey'Dez Green can do that, and the different alignments they put him in, and just, I mean, what do you do? Honestly, what do you do with a guy with a 6'7" and this wingspan and this level of physicality at the catch point? I don't even know what to do with that.
He's such a freak, man. He's a 5-star recruit a couple years ago. He's only a sophomore right now. I'll say he's going to be a first-round pick in next year's draft in 2027. I mean, this guy is just a freak at 6'7", 240. And like I said, it's more than just the jump balls. He moves so fluidly for a 6'7", 240 player, too. So Trey'Dez Green looks very much like a first-round pick in 2027 because he still has one more year of college ball after this year, which is really terrifying for a lot of SEC defenses right now. I want to shout out a guy who was in the LSU secondary, and not a guy that we've shouted out a lot this year like Mansour Delane or like A.J. Halsey. I'm going to shout out Tamarcus Cooley right here. 86.4 coverage grade, only 1 catch allowed on 3 targets for only 4 yards in this one. He also had an interception and 2 forced incompletions. He really caught the ball as much as his receivers did in this game. Only a 2.8 passer rating allowed. Again, I mentioned before, Delane and Halsey have both been outstanding for LSU secondary this year. They're the 2 stars of that unit. But when you have a guy like Tamarcus Cooley performing like that against South Carolina, that's big-time stuff, and that's why LSU is on the short list for the best secondary in college football this year.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, I'll say it again, and Nussmeier gets the hype, and Trey'Dez Green in this one, well deserved. But their secondary, their improvement in coverage from what was a poor covering unit the last 2 years. That's the reason they are where they are and why they're playoff contenders.
Definitely, big win for LSU, beating South Carolina 20-10.